So, when people find out that I'm a figure skater, they usually have the same, handful of questions. These include, can you go backwards? Yes. Can you do a triple loop flutz spinny axle thing? No. Are you going to the Olympics? No. Are you any good then? I don't know. Watch the videos on this channel and you can decide for yourself, I guess. And can you do a flip? Yes, but not the kind you're thinking of. But the most reasonable question that they have, and that I can't really give a succinct answer to, is how in the heck does the scoring system work? And so, unraveling the mysteries of the IJS, the International Judging System currently used in all major and minor figure skating competitions, is going to be the point of this video, and I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. So, back in the day, figure skating used the 6.0 system, which is now called the old system. And it was a very simple system to understand. You got 2 sets of points for each performance. You got technical merit and presentation, and you could get a 6.0 in each of those. 6.0 was perfect. Everyone knew that 6.0 was the best, and every decimal below that was just a little bit off the mark, and whoever got the highest scores when they were all added up won. But then in 2002, at the Salt Lake City Winter Olympics, there was this huge scandal in the pairs figure skating competition. So what happened was the pair that won, Alina Berezhnaya and Anton Sikorilets of Russia, won, and Jamie Salé and David Pelletier of Canada came in second. And basically everyone watching, that was the order after the short program, and everyone watching after the free programs were all pretty much in agreement that Salé and Pelletier had done enough to overcome the Russians and win, and then it was announced that they had lost and that the Russian pair had won. And then eventually they went back to the hotel. The French judge said that she had scored the Russians first so that her ice dance team would get an advantage the next day in competition. Anyway, there was this whole big thing, and eventually what happened is the ISU acknowledged that there was flaws in the judging system, that it was corrupt, and they awarded 2 sets of gold medals, one to the Russian team that had originally won, and then one to Salé and Pelletier, who had originally come in second. Another thing they did was that they got rid of publishing the marks with the names of the judges, so that now all marks are anonymous. They're judged 1 through 9, and nobody knows who 1, 2, 3, etc. is. The third thing that happened was that the judges involved were banned from the ISU, and the fourth thing that happened was that there was this whole big push to get rid of the 6.0 system. It was corrupt, it was so easy to cheat, and so anyway, we developed the IJS. So that is a brief history of the IJS. It was first instituted in 2004, so it took 2 years to get it up to speed and to get judges trained to use the system. It started use in 2004 and was first used in the 2006 Winter Olympics in Torino. Nowadays, people say that IJS has killed figure skating. They say it makes programs robotic. They say no one understands the system, so no one wants to watch it anymore. And, I think that second point is fair. Nobody ever understands, like fans who are just watching during the Olympics every 4 years have literally no clue what's going on. And in the 6.0 system, pretty much if you fell, you could not win, and that is not really the case anymore in IJS. So people are confused as to why someone who fell 2 times can beat someone else. And anyway, it's very confusing, and it isn't a user-friendly system, a viewer-friendly system at all. So the easiest way for me to explain the IJS to you is to show you what a skater sees after a competition is finished and they get their scorecard. So in 6.0, they flashed however many judges' scores there were on the board. The skater tried to add them really quick in their head and see if they beat the person right before them, and the audience did too, or they waited for the total to be flashed, and everyone saw everything, and that was how it worked. But in the IJS system, there is a total segment score that is shown after each skater's performance on television or on the Jumbotron in an arena, and they see that one number and maybe that added to the short program for a total score if it's a long program, and that's all they see. But I will show you what the skater sees right after he or she finishes competing. So as you can see, that's super detailed and super unclear if you just look at it, and so I have color coded it, and hopefully I'll be able to explain it to you in the rest of this video. My personal opinions on the IJS could take up a whole separate video, so I'm not going to discuss that. I'm just going to use the rest of the video to show you a color coded version of the scorecard and to explain it briefly. So here we go. So I'm going to talk through this color coded version of the scorecard that I made. So on the top where there's no color, it's just the name of the skater, and I picked this one. This is Josh Ferris' scorecard from the most recent World. I picked it because A, I like Josh a lot, and B, it has some really good things and then also some bad things, so we can discuss a range of things that can appear in a scorecard. So in the purple box, that's mostly what an audience would see. The number most to the left is the total score for the program, and then you can see it split up into the total element or technical element score and the total program component score, and those added together gets you the total segment score on the left. You can also see that Josh received 1 deduction for this program. So to get more into the details of this, let's move to the green box. There are 2 columns here, you can see. The left column is the elements that the skater performed during his performance. So what happens is that there's a technical caller, or technical specialist, but everyone just calls them callers, and there's judges. And the technical specialist's job is to watch the program and see exactly what the skater did, and then he lists those elements in this column most to the left. So all of the jumps and spins and other elements in the program have codes. You can see his first element was a triple axel, element 3 was a combination, triple flip, double toe, and so anyway, it goes down, and the ones with the numbers before are jumps, and the ones with the numbers after are spins and footwork sequences, and the numbers after indicate levels. Levels can go base 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will discuss how to get those levels and spins and footwork in a later video. So 4 is the best. B, no one at Worlds is getting Bs, but they would be where the 1, 2, 3, or 4 is. You can see that Josh got a 2 on one of his spins, on 2 of his spins actually, and then 4s on his step and his final flying combo spin. The codes are pretty much alphabetical, but you know, I can link a list to the codes in the description. And so then the column to the right is, in the green box, is the base value for these elements. All elements have point values attached to them, so you can see what a normal base value would be. Some of the little symbols around adjust the value of the base value. The ones that have little X's to the right means that the jumper means that the jump was performed in the second half of the program, which means that you get a 10% addition to your base value. The little caret symbol on the 4T means that it was under rotated, which means that instead of completing the necessary 4 revolutions, Josh only completed anywhere between 3.5 and 3 3/4. If there were 2 carets, then that would mean that it was downgraded and that it would be judged as a triple, and that means that he completed less than 3.5 revolutions. As you can see, both a downgrade and an under rotation adjust the base value of a jump. So then you can see the little bold number 68 is the number of the base value of the elements he executed in his program. And then you go to the blue boxes, and this is the GOE, the ones that are like 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Those are each judge 1 through 9, 1 through 5 in smaller competitions, but this is Worlds, so 1 through 9. And each judge in random order, these are placed in random order, each judge gives a value to the element as to how well they think the skater performed the element. So a 1, it can be -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, or 3, 3 clearly being the best. So here you can see he did a pretty good triple axel. His quad toe was downgraded, was under-rotated, and he also fell, which you can pretty much tell by the -3s across the board. It usually means a fall. You can see the triple flip thing. There's mixed records, and then you can see. So what happens is they take the 9 marks, they drop the top one and the bottom one. So they do an average where they drop the outliers, and then they average them. And then you can see that on the leftmost column in the blue box, that is the whole thing averaged out. And then they either subtract or add that to the base value. And if you can see in the box most to the right, that is the actual score the skater got for the element. And then you can see the total technical element score, which is the base value plus or minus the GOE, all added together for all the elements. And that is the 72.6 that you see at the bottom of the blue box. That is the technical element score. One thing I forgot to mention is you can see a little exclamation point. That means the skater's entry edge was called into question. There's an adjustment to the base value for that. If there was an E there, then that means that the edge was definitely wrong and there would be an additional penalty. And then the red box is the program components, or what people call the artistic mark. You can see there are 5 different, categories of program components. Skating skills, transitions, performance execution, choreography, and interpretation. I honestly couldn't say that without having it right in front of me reading it, because, they just kind of are divisions, but they're very overlapping. Obviously, you can't have good performance without good skating skills. But on the other token, you can have good skating skills and have bad choreography, but judges tend to keep in the same range for all of them, even though they should be able to differ. They are called PCS corridors. People don't really give high marks for skating skills and low performance for choreography, even if that is what has happened. Here you can see Josh got mostly 7s and 8 scores. The highest is a 10. And the factor just means that they multiply it by 2 in a long program and by 1 in a short program to keep the ratios kind of even. I don't know really why they do that. But then you can see all those are averaged. I think also the top and bottom is dropped for each element of the PCS, and they're averaged and then factored. And then those are put and added together to get your total program component score. You can see usually they're similar to the element score. Josh is beautiful, and so his is higher than his technical element score. And then you can see the deductions. Those are only for falls and for rules violations. So you can see he fell once, so he got a deduction. Another reason for a deduction would be things that the referee calls, such as going too long or too short, or a piece of your costume falling on ice. Those are really the only things I can think of that would give you deductions. And so, to sum up, the technical panel consists of the ref, who looks for rules violations, the technical caller, and his assistant, the technical specialist and his assistant, who calls the jumps and spins and levels and etc. and assigns base values. The judges, the 9 judges, who give grade of execution, and then there's also the data operator and the video replay operator, who make sure that everything is good and judges can rewatch. No, not judges. Technical specialists can rewatch to count revolutions on spins, etc., what have you. And so the GOEs value how good or how badly an element is done. If it's beautiful, you get a 3. If it's sloppy, you might get a -1 or a -2. And so that gives you the technical element score. And the PCS, the program components, are sort of, there to assess the overall artistic merit of the performance in these different categories, which have very specific criteria, which nobody ever reads. And anyway, it's all about how beautiful your skating is. And so I hope that helped explain how marks are reached, and it also helps explain that since a fall is only a 1-point deduction plus the -3 on the GOE, and say a quadruple toe loop is so much higher in base value than a triple toe loop, it makes more sense to do a quad and fall than to do a triple, which is why people who fall can sometimes prevail over skaters who have skated what looks like a cleaner program. Also, spins and steps are sort of impossible to level if you don't know there's levels. So you can see how a skater with a prettier spin that's a level 2 would get lower marks than a level 4 spin that's slower, or something like that. So anyway, I hope this cleared up the confusion, and yeah, I can link to Josh's program in the description so you can see what it looks like and what made this happen. So thank you for your time, and this is the wrap of this video.